number 6. Thank you for joining us.
Chair, members of council, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Elizabeth Lilly, and I live at 30 Weatherstone Court. I've lived there for 13 years, and I would like to state that my opposition to this plan is absolutely nothing to do with the geography of my home and the proximity to the proposed development. We are being asked as a town to approve an arts and cultural learning centre. This was Tricia Romance's dream. This is what Tricia Romance perceived when she first stood on the property, when she purchased it, when she referred to it as magical. As a happenstance to this arts and cultural learning centre, we are now being asked to acquiesce and to approve the development of a hotel and all of the other ancillary buildings, which include a centre for distribution, which by any other name is still a centre for distribution. I am a somewhat patron of the arts. I somewhat function in an artistic capacity. My studies have been in theology, and therefore I can comprehend Ms. Romance's magical assessment of the property. She has herself stated on various occasions that her work is inspired by the divine, that this property is magical, that she has talked to the statues in there, that she feels what I, as a theologian, can concur with, and that is the sense of the transcendent God become immanent in the community. I would suggest to council and to Ms. Romance, with such respect for her and for her artistic sensibility, for her genuine artistic sensibility, I would suggest to her that when you take a property that you perceive as magical, when you take a property that you perceive as divine, and you dig into that, and you change it, and you build on it, and you recreate, then you have distinguished the very fire which you saw in the first place. You have taken from the property that which it had given you. You have reduced yourself, and you have reduced the property in the process. We live in a world now, not just here in Niagara-on-the-Lake, but we live in a world which is perplexingly becoming more and more a world of automation, more and more a world of technology, more and more a world where people do not interface, they just use gadgets to communicate. This is not what God intended for our world, whether you believe in God or you believe in some other higher power. My firm belief in the artistic sensibilities and my firm belief in the soul of an arts and cultural learning centre is that it contains and it maintains precisely what it is, precisely that gift that the artist brings to the world and brings to the community, and what we call culture because we do not have another name for it. But that name is transcendent. That name is a gift that comes into the spirit of those people's lives. And generally, in my capacity as a theologian, in my discussions with artists and poets and writers, I have found over and over, and if I look back through history, I have seen over and over, that most of those souls are counterculture. They are not willing to follow the culture of the day. the romanticists, of which Miss Romance must surely be a student, were counter to the Industrial Revolution. It is our job in this world to keep a balance. It is our job in this world to take a check and say, not more and more and more. Let's not add. Every time we add, we also take something away. Something irreplaceable. We have this beautiful property. It has a proposal before it. I suggest, like any other arts and cultural centre of significance in this country, which would include the Banff Centre, which has been ludicrously referred to as an imitation of this. That facility was established by the University of Alberta over 70 years ago. It is governed by a board of governors. It is situated in Banff National Park, and it is funded by philanthropists, by art lovers, and by the federal and provincial governments. It is sad that Ms. Romance cannot have her art and cultural learning centre without the economical dependence on the Randwood Inn, the distribution centre, the swimming pools, the general melee that will take place. That is sad. That perhaps says more about our cultural attitude in Canada and in Ontario and in Niagara-on-the-Lake than anything else here tonight could. But I suggest that we are really to have an arts and cultural learning centre in this town, that we take that to a higher authority, that we take that to a government authority, that we ask them to step in and help us and help Ms. Romance and help Mr. Peterson make their investment in this property viable economically. This is not an arts and cultural centre. This has no hope of being an arts and cultural centre. And I appeal to the council, I appeal to the members of this town to take note of that. This is going to be a commercial enterprise, a private enterprise. This is not a not-for-profit art and cultural centre. This will be for the benefit only of those who invest. And believe me, they will wish their return handily. I respectfully thank you for your time. I am saddened, deeply saddened. I moved to this town 13 years ago. I have loved this town with a passion. And I am suffering at the moment, as most of my friends will know. I am suffering the demise of this town. I am suffering seeing more and more encroachment on what has been the beauty, the uniqueness, the quaintness of this town. How long will it be before Niagara-on-the-Lake is just swallowed up and becomes just some other place that's pretty nice to walk through? Thank you.